do have Pastor T in the house. Come on, Pastor T.
Hey, Frankie.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing great. How has everything been going so far?
So good. And I have really, really, really enjoyed the women I've had the opportunity to speak. You have done an amazing job and should be super proud.
Oh, thank you so much.
Together. Yeah, it's amazing. And it's not easy to do.
It's not. It's not. So, I just met Pastor Tara a few weeks ago, and we were talking, and she reached out and she said, I love the name of your summit. I want to be a part of this. So I went and Facebook stalked her, and you talking about powerhouse. This woman is doing the dang on thing in Memphis. Okay. Memphis can't even hold her. Memphis can't even contain her. Okay.
Yes.
And so let me share a little bit about Pastor T. Okay. Pastor Tara Crawford is a passionate leader who loves helping people realize their God-given purpose and vision. Yes. Her absolute passion is to watch God's people pursue and flow in their passion. She understands all too well how our past prevents us from walking into our future. Her testimony includes being healed and delivered from molestation, rape, guilt of abortion, abandonment, divorce, low self-esteem, rejection, etc. Pastor Tara knows God to be a healer, and she believes in true transformation. She knows for an absolute fact that transformation happens when we heal from our root issues. She is skilled in both ministry and business and loves to cultivate and nurture entrepreneurs. She has many testimonies of transformation from people in ministry and business, and she would love to assist you. So please welcome Miss Pastor Tara.
Yay. Yay. How are you?
Yes, I am doing well. So we've talked, it was supposed to be a 15-minute conversation.
I know, right?
We were on the phone literally, and I'm 3 hours behind you. And I think I called you. I said, well, it's a little late. Can I call you? Like, I'm up. So we talked, we're supposed to talk for 15 minutes, and we were on the phone for about 2 hours.
Right. It was crazy. Well, that's Tara for you.
I'm talking about sharing, exchanging testimonies, and really talking about what God has brought us from and how we got to this point right now.
Yes.
So talk to us about your gifts, ma'am, because I know you are gifted.
I think my gifting is pulling the best out of people. Like, I really love to help people move from that place of their past into the place that God has called them to be. And so what I found is that a lot of times we know what we're born to be. We know what we're called to do, but it's things in our past that has us thinking that we're not good enough, or we don't deserve to be, or the guilt from what we've gone through. And so what I love to do, Frankie, is to pull people out of that dirt, that muck, those things that are holding them back, and really help to launch them into the thing God has called them to do. And it's probably what I love to do more than anything in the world. And then, of course, I love to speak. I'm writing. And so you kind of helped me through that. I got to give you an update on that. So my book should be out and published this year. So thank you. And so God has done many things, but I am a speaker. I love to write. I love to bless people, but more than anything, I love to coach and counsel people out of those places in their lives that they're really ashamed of and really feel guilty about and really feel condemned about and think that they can never really move forward from. Or sometimes, Frankie, they think they have moved forward from them and they haven't. They've only really survived them and they haven't really healed from them. So that's kind of what I love to do.
And I follow you on Facebook, and just the other day you were talking about there was something you were I can't remember exactly. I'm trying to pull it up, and it is so powerful. If you are following me, you have to go back and watch what Pastor Tara was talking about. Here it is. This time won't be like the last time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Come
So
on.
I was talking about how we are so afraid. Sometimes God will ask you to do something again and you're terrified. You're like, no, God, that didn't work out for me before. And, if you know my story, I was divorced a few years ago and I'm remarried now. And it was one of the scariest things in the world to trust God again. I'm a pastor and I had been hurt so much in ministry because I was a pastor's kid and in that church world until when God was really calling me to lead and to pastor. And I was like, there is no way in this world. Like sometimes those places that have damaged us the most, God will call us back into those places. And we're like, no, 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 Jesus. I don't know if anybody else has ever told God no, but I have. I'm like, nah, can't do that, Dad. Give me something else. I got you, but that I'm not going to be able to do. And so I was on vacation with my husband, and God kept telling me, I want people to try it again. I want people to do it again. I want people to trust me again. And I'm telling you, when you go in and do the thing God called you to do, just because it didn't work last time, God is calling us to do things again and to trust him again and to jump and to be all he has called us to be. And sometimes, Frankie, the failure from the last place has taught us things we don't even realize it's taught us. It's given us nuggets and courage and power and all kinds of things that we don't even know that we possess at this time. And so that's what I was talking about. I was like, no, this time won't be like last time. You need to go and jump again because I'm experiencing things that I felt like I failed at, and I'm watching God do something extremely miraculous, and I'm watching God build some powerful things through me. And I was the one that always felt like the failure, always felt like I lost. And my mom's kids, I was always at the bottom, and God has called me to really, really jump and try some things. Even with entrepreneurship, we're in some things together, and I'm watching God move in an amazing way. And so I just want people to go back and try and trust God, because it won't be like this time, won't be like last time.
Period. Come on. That's the whole word right there.
This time will not be like last time.
Yes.
So last time taught you something. So go try again.
Absolutely. Because the experience, you come with more. When you come out on the other side, there's just something that happens because you look back and you look from where you come from and you say, wow. And so now you not only do you have that experience, but it taught you something. You have to learn something. There was something that was attached to that. And we all have to go through it. And like you said, I've been at business for years. I mean, online space, all of these things. And like you said, when I'm moving forward, it's like you're apprehensive. But God gave me this gift of my old pastor used to say, stick to itness. Even though I failed, I still would keep going. Even I was searching. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I kept going. I didn't let the grass grow under my feet. I kept moving. And so it was just one of those things where when I heard you say that, it reminded me of that yes, I may have failed last time, but this time won't be like last time. So you were ministering to me, and I was just like, come on, share.
Yeah, and sometimes as women, God had to show me this. Sometimes as women, the things that we've been victim of, we see ourselves as a victim. We see ourselves. So for me, I can see myself as a person that's been molested and the person that's been raped and the person that went through abuse and all this kind of stuff. But God had me one day, Frankie, to sit and look back at my story. And not just that I had gone through that stuff, but I had really made it through it. And he began to show me how I'm not a victim, but I'm a champion. It takes something to go through some of the things we've gone through. And I think if we stop looking at ourselves as a victim of our situation and see ourselves as a person who have championed, like there are people that couldn't have made it through your story. Like you are a champion of that situation. And so I love women to stand up and see themselves no longer as a victim, but as a champion. Do you see what God has brought me through? Do you see what I was able to endure? do you see not only how I was able to do it, but the way I was able to come out of it? And now I'm able to, I always tell people, I say, Harriet Tubman is my favorite person, because when she became free and found freedom, she went back and got others and helped them into freedom. And so a lot of times we're trying to help people while we're still very bound ourselves. And so I love to help women to understand, look, go find freedom so that we can go back and get others who are bound by the thing that had us bound, and let's set them free. And so as women, we're not victims, but we're champions of our story. And so, and when you become a champion, you go and create other champions. And so that's what we do, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Come on, coach. Come on.
That's what we do.
So, I got a chance to, I Facebook stalked everybody that was on here, and I learned something about you. What I learned about you is that you and your husband co-pastor, and you guys have a couples connect night. So tell us, so we're talking about gifts. And so when you're talking about being a champion and going back and getting those others to be champion, obviously you went through some things in your first marriage, and you were afraid to go forward, but God said, go forth. You married this man, and now you're going back to go get those other couples. So talk about your couples connect night.
Listen, so me and my husband both, we were married for 20 years. Both of us were married for 20 years, devastated by divorce. Just really when we met, I think neither one of us were thinking about marriage again or anything. And so we began to talk. We knew each other from school, and he saw me actually, Frankie, doing a Facebook live about divorce and how to make it through the holidays as a divorcee. And I was speaking to women, and he made a comment and said, Tara, this is not just for women. This has really encouraged me as a man, blah, blah, blah. And so we began a dialogue about divorce from there, the pain of it and all this kind of stuff. And as we began to speak, we began to talk a lot about marriage and what we see that we could have done different and what we think marriage should be. And so we just began to dialogue from there and conversate from there. And then we ended up dating, and all this stuff happened. And one of the things that we decided and we committed ourselves to was that we didn't want to see anybody go through divorce. If we could do anything to nurture marriage and encourage people in marriage and to bring life and love and fun and keep marriage really just cultivated in a positive space, that we would do that. And so we had an event during COVID. It was called Dinner and Dancing. We had it out in the park, and we brought couples in, and we had dinner outside, and they danced together. We had a band and all this stuff. And so now that COVID is over, we were like, hey, let's start back. And so once a month, we're going to be doing Couples Connect. And when I tell you, we did, the one you saw was our first actual small, Couples Connect, and it was filled, it was packed. We didn't have room for anybody else. And what God did in that environment was just miraculous. And I think that what we've done is taken something, just like I said, that did not work out for us before, and we've decided, how do we turn this into something beautiful, and how do we help couples to understand the pain, and not that just that it's painful for you, but it's painful for your children and all this stuff. So if we can do anything to help other people not go through what we've been through, or to be in a better space than we were in our previous marriages, that's what we want to do. So that couples thing is all about, keeping it high, keeping it fun, keeping that friendship alive. And so we've just committed our lives to, this is what we want to be for other people. We want to be for other people what we wish we would have had, early on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's so important. I'm not married. One day God's gonna send my husband to
me. Yes, he is. I agree.
And I received that.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of times people struggle with just different things in their marriages and things like that. Finances is usually like the number one reason, because one person feels one way about finances and another person feels the other way, and just being able to come together. And so that, I really love that. My pastors do that as well. They've been married for 40 years, and they mentor couples as well. And so, what are some of the testimonies that you've received from, really using your gift to employ this part of your ministry? What have been some of the testimonies?
Well, as you know, some of it we just started, but some of the stories we got the other week was actually, I received one that was probably my favorite one because this couple, they're in ministry and they're pastors, and I know how difficult that is. And they said, that night really opened dialogue up for us that we're not used to having. We were discussing and having conversation because one of the things we did, we talked about the top three needs of a man, the top three needs of a woman, and we told the spouses to write down your top three needs. And what we did was, which I thank you, Holy Spirit, I think was brilliant because we started not to do this, but we allowed them to conversate about it on the spot. Like, am I meeting your needs? Am I meeting your needs? And so they sat there, we put the music on, and we let them conversate with their spouse. And so one of the best testimonies, I think, was, and we got several because people loved it. And so, but one of the best testimonies was me and my husband had conversations that we had not had before. And we were up all night long, really just pouring into one another. And so I think it's very helpful because we don't do checkups with each other to say, hey, am I doing okay? I think as people, we're selfish by nature and we're worried about what I want and what I need all the time. And I think that some of these events are saying, am I meeting your need? Am I being the wife you need me to be? And so I think we need to do that really in everything with our children, with our friendships. I think we need to check and say, I know I'm being what I think I should be, but am I meeting your need? Am I loving you the way you need to be loved? And so that's some of the stuff. And other stuff is like the romance, the heat, all that. And so it's good stuff.
Right. And that's so vital. It's so critical. And so I want to ask you, when did you identify your gifts? When did you know that you were a champion for champions, for upcoming champions?
Okay, so I was listening to the speaker right before me, and I was thinking about some of the stuff she was saying. And so I was thinking about in high school, I would have people come to me and say, man, I've seen you, because she said she saw herself in front of people. But I had people telling me, I saw you. It's like I dreamed about you standing in front of all these people. I've always been, so maybe when I was about 12 or 13, I can remember even one of my Sunday school teachers saying, Tara, you're a leader. And I can tell because the crowd follows you. Now, at that time, Frankie, they wouldn't follow me no place good, right? But they were following me. And so she began to nurture and tell me how I can see the leader in you. And my life took a lot of turns. I was a mom at 16. I was a mom at 18. But even when I was I was having my son when I was 18, I was in the hospital. And when I was 18 years old, I was in the hospital having my second baby. God really began to speak to me about what he had called me to do. And he said, I'm going to send you to heal and to help other women. And so I was really, really sure about it at the age of 18. And so I would tell people, God is going to send me to help women, to help girls. And they would laugh at me, because my story was all wrecked at the time. And so I remember leaving that hospital, and my dad was putting me out because I was having my second baby. And so they were kicking me out, and he was telling me that. And at the same time, I was telling him, you know what, it's going to be okay, because here's what God showed me when I was laying in that hospital bed, and here's who I'm going to be. And so even though I kind of knew it coming up at 18 years old, I was pretty sure about what God was going to do in my life. And I think God showed me that in that hospital room at 18, because the way my life was going to go after that, I needed the hope of that vision that he had given me, that I would minister to women all over the world, and that he was going to use my voice and use my testimony. I really, really needed that, because, honey, those 20s were about to take me somewhere that I just was not prepared for. But that's when I truly, truly knew that my voice was anointed and that it was called to save other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can just hear the passion flowing from you when you talk about it. And I know that's definitely your purpose. And I know that just the talks that you and I have had have been, just a blessing to me. And again, by me Facebook stalking you, I learned so much about you just in regard to just who you are and just your forthcomingness and your transparency. That is what, you don't see a lot in pastors. Sometimes they just read you the word and they give you bits and pieces of their story, but it's like the best way for me to connect with you is you have to keep it real.
Oh,
You have to be
yeah.
honest all the way across the board. And that's one thing that I see in you, is that you are transparent. You don't hold anything back.
I don't.
And so when we talk about transparency, how does your gift come together with that so that you can bless people?
I think it does that because of what you just said. It causes people to connect.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you've heard the saying, what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you're very honest with people, it connects with people, and it makes you one of them. And so, oh, she gets me. Oh, she understands. Oh, I'm not judged by her. I tell people we're doing a thing in our church now called Wednesday Night Fire, and we have people coming forward saying, hey, I struggle with homosexuality. Hey, I'm struggling with porn. Hey, I'm struggling with alcoholism. And these are leaders and people. And the reason that I feel like they don't have to be shamed, the reason people aren't transparent is because there's shame, and shame has gripped us. And for years, I lived under that shame, and I just refused to let it have its way with me. But the way to pull people out of shame is to share your story and to be very honest. And I think one of the reasons we don't share our story, though, Frankie, is because we're not delivered from it. And so because I'm free from it, I really don't care what you think about it. And so I tell people, as a matter of fact, the book I'm writing opens up with a DNA test I had to take 5 years ago. So I'm pastoring and my son's coming to ask me, is his dad his dad? And so, but when I tell that story, and listen to me, it was probably the story I felt the most shame about and thought I was going to go to my grave with it, right? But this is what I found out. Number one, when I got free from it, it changed my entire life. And so some of the secrets that we're holding on to have us so bound we don't understand. But also what I learned is, as I share that story, every time I share that story, the thing I was the most shame of, now I talk about it on platforms and the internet and everywhere. And so, but when I share it, there are always women in the room that are coming to my inbox or coming to me after saying, hey, I had that same story. So the way my transparency connects to my destiny is that my transparency says, hey, I got this too. Hey, I had the abortions too. And it pulls people out of the pit that they're hiding in because somebody has told them you're too bad to be anointed. You're too guilty to be used by God. You're too much of a failure to be the entrepreneur God called you to be. And here I am standing up being all that, saying there's no way you too bad to be that, because I've been all of that and God is still using me. And so that's how my transparency and my gift connect. It pulls people out because now it's the thing that I use. So when God told me that I was going to speak and pull people out, he didn't say you were going to tell them all your stuff. I didn't know that part, but that's how he uses me. And that's what people connect with. When I was going through divorce, I kind of walked through that journey publicly. I didn't share all the dirt. I did not trash my ex-husband, but I shared the pain of it and what my days were like and what it was like to try to carry my children through and come out of it. And so people have been able to follow me through the valley and then back to the mountain. And so it brings people hope, because I didn't just let them see my victory, because that's what we do on social media. I let people see me go through, and now they celebrate the victory. So when I got married, I made that very public. I publicized the marriage because I wanted people to see, if you stay with the Lord, instead of getting mad at him from the process and getting so depressed in the process that you leave, and if you stick with the Lord, here's how this thing does. Don't let the enemy defeat you in the valley. I'm telling you, it comes back around. Keep sowing, keep loving, keep giving, keep praying, keep worshiping, keep being who God called you to be, even when you're in pain, and that thing transitions. And so I think my transparency through all of it, not just about the good stuff and the victory and, ooh, look at my husband, we're on vacation. I had to tell them about the days that I couldn't get up to minister, the days where I was under my bed crying and still had to go minister. I had to tell them, even when you're hurting, you still have an assignment, you know. And so I let people see me in the middle of that to say, I cannot quit my assignment. I got to encourage people when I'm depressed myself. God will use you if you get up, if you keep moving. I had to do that. And God called me to do it publicly. And there weren't days I didn't come on the internet crying and stuff, but I did come on to say, here's how I'm making it through. Here's what I'm doing. Here's what you do. Why? Because I knew other people were going through the same. That's how I met my husband. I knew other people were going through the same thing I was going through. And even in the middle of the valley, I knew who I was called to be. And I kept on being her. It was not easy. I tell people there were times I was back in my office floor. I'm talking about laying in the floor crying. I had to get up, go preach to other people, and I would come back and lay back in my floor and cry. And people would call me and say, oh my God, that blessed me so much. And it encouraged me so much. And they're being encouraged, Frankie, and I'm going through. Do you hear me? And so that honesty, that transparency, and that it has just blessed people because it brings them hope. If God can do it for her, he'll do it for me. I cannot give up because I watched Pastor Tara. I know God will turn this around because I've seen him do it. I know God, even in the middle of divorce, I can be victorious if I allow God to heal me. I talked them through my counseling journey. I talked them through the days I had to go out by myself and have dinner with myself and watch everybody else with their boo. I'm talking about I intentionally sowed and gave anniversary gifts. And I'm talking about intentionally kept sowing into marriage so I would not become bitter. And that's why God can take me and trust me to pour into marriage, because I ain't just doing it because I'm married. I was doing it when I was single and brokenhearted. I kept sowing into marriages. I was the one saying happy anniversary. I was the one sending the gifts. I was buying Victoria's Secret cards for wives, for their husband, for their anniversary. I kept sowing in the middle of the valley. And so people have watched me do it. And so that's how my transparency have got. That was a long answer, wasn't it?
You are blessing some people, okay? This chat over here is going on. Okay, you are blessing them, honey. So thank you so much. So, Pastor T, you know, I told you I was coming to Memphis, and I mean that. I am coming to Memphis, okay? And so how can people connect with you? So I know you're working on the book, so we're going to bring you back to talk about that. But and I know you're coaching. Can you let people know how to get in contact with you and get some of your coaching, your training, whatever you're doing? Because this lady's on fire, okay?
I love Jesus. So listen, so if they want a strategy session with me, they can go to IamTaraCrawford.com. That's just to book your free strategy session. You can connect with me on any social media platform. On Instagram, I am Tara Crawford. On Facebook, I'm Tara LaShawn Crawford. And I got 2 pages, Tara LaShawn Crawford. I think one is a like page. I don't think I can take any more friends, but you can like that page. You can message me or whatever. Okay. I am Tara Crawford on Instagram and Tara LaShawn Crawford on Facebook. And IamTaraCrawford.com to book a strategy session. I'll help to pull you out of all that pain you in and push you into the place God called you to be.
That's okay, come on. Well, I appreciate you for reaching out to me and us building this. I look forward to us building this relationship because you have so much to offer. And I really, really, really appreciate you. And thank you for showing up today. So
thank you, Frankie. It's been amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you, sis.